Hello, everybody. It is 6:30-ish on Sunday morning, and the sun is just coming up here at Patong Beach on the island of Phuket, Thailand. It's a perfect morning for a walk on the beach. Mid 70 degrees, probably. I want to welcome our viewers and say hello to Nick H. in Manhattan, and special shout out to Heidi M. for her comments during our trip. Much appreciated, Heidi M. Also want to say hello to Wood in Rhode Island, who's been sending feedback, positive. Really appreciate all the input, and I'm glad you're enjoying what we've been doing here on our trip, trying to share some part of Thailand with our subscribers. Lifeguards are out early, warming up, practicing their signals. In no time at all, this beach is going to be full of beach chairs and umbrellas from the beginning of the beach out near the main road right down to the water. It's a very popular beach, and it gets crowded as anything you might find in northeast beaches of the United States, such as really from Virginia Beach all the way up through the northernmost beaches of New Jersey. Although they're not all crowded there, but that type of beach population. And I guess that is an indication of the relative population of the area where we are. So that mid-Atlantic region of the United States has major cities. Obviously New York City, Philadelphia, Baltimore, Washington, just to name a few. And when those populations take a break and head for the beach, they can fill up the beach pretty fast. Phuket Island and Patong Beach is no different. Bangkok is only an hour flight. A city of 10 million people. As a reference, it's larger than Chicago, or New York, or Los Angeles. That's a lot of votes. Patong Beach is actually not inexpensive at all. And Thailand has a reputation of being relatively inexpensive, and that the Thai baht, or that the dollar, the U.S. dollar, is very strong against the Thai baht. And all of that is true, but Patong Beach is like any other resort that's heavily in demand, and the prices here are quite comparable to some of our larger U.S. cities. There's folks in the water already, getting an early morning swim, even before the sun is fully up. See, there's a few high-rise buildings going up. And then off in the distance, built into the cliffs, are condos and houses. They're very expensive. You have beach area condominiums starting at about 30 million baht. It's about 1 million US dollars. So the real estate here is not for the bargain hunter. And hearing the crowds probably really isn't that great of a deal. So we took a walking tour last night at the Patong Beach night market. This is crab cake, and I thought we would buy some souvenirs to take back with us. And it turned out to be a very different kind of night market. I guess I probably should have seen that one coming. It was more of a party district and red light district rather than booths lining the street, which was closed at 6 o'clock. The street was just full of people up and down between different bars and strip joints. And although that's legal here, or seems to be, or at least isn't paid any attention to by the law enforcement, it's just not our cup of tea. But it made for an interesting walk. And I highly recommend you look at last night's video of walking Patong night market if you haven't had a chance already. It's an eye-opener. But now here we are on the beach, maybe a few hundred yards from where that night market is, and it's very calm, relaxing family environment. That's one of the things. Oh, that's the height of Wood Foss. And you're right, Wood, it is a very clean, beautiful beach. I know they put a lot of time into sending teams out here at the end of the day, making sure that it's pristine and ready for the next day. And also the currents, or at least the waves, are not overly powerful, certainly not surfboard quality waves. And maybe that nice gentle waves keeps a lot of stuff from being washed up that would otherwise be out at sea. So one thing there has been here is a couple of very large cruise ships. And some cruise companies are notorious for dumping trash out at sea and that can fill it up and really ruin an area. That definitely is not the case here. The beach here is absolutely clean. Now the city, the streets, I would say is a different story. It's not that there's litter everywhere, because there's not. But it just doesn't seem as clean as some of the other areas of Thailand we'll be visiting. Maybe that's just the age or weathering from where it's located. It's a nice beach for swimming. There's no big drop off, so it's good for young and old. And anybody that's not a strong swimmer, there's not real tides here. It's a nice easy beach. You can see how flat it is. It's for good walking, not digging into a bunch of soft sand. They have areas netted off with markers for swimming and others that are for not. And in between the swimming areas during the day are rentals, jet skis, mostly just jet skis, but also a few small power boats and other things that people can rent. I didn't see a lot of people renting them. I haven't anyway in the last few days. And it could be because there's just such a, let's say, they're notorious for scams. What some of the jet ski operators have been known to do is send you out and when you come back, claim that you've caused all kinds of damage to the jet ski that you certainly have not, and then trying to charge you for that damage. And word gets out, and people don't want to take a chance. So in the end, the dishonest practices really just hurt the vendors that are doing them. Make a quick, sneaky buck today, but they'll have no business tomorrow. Anyway, we've had about a 4-day window between videos. Our tour's been very busy. We left off in Chiang Rai in northern Thailand. From there we'd spent the day visiting Myanmar and taking a ride up the Mekong River. It was very, very interesting. People of Burma were just unbelievably welcoming. From there, we headed south to the city of Sukhothai. And Sukhothai was believed to be one of the earliest, or the earliest capital of what is now Thailand. And was the capital from something around 1230 maybe to 1440, 1450, something like that. A couple of hundred years. And then it moved to Ayutthaya. I've been pronouncing it very differently. I'm probably still getting it wrong. Which is another city that we then headed south and visited. And that city was the capital of Siam, what was known as Siam, which is now Thailand, of course, for 400 years, middle 1400s to middle 1800s. Most people probably recognize Siam from the movie The King and I think based on the book Anna and the King, which was a true story of a Thai king who was taught English by an English woman born from London, I think. And it was a love story and all of that. I think the original version of the movie with Yul Brynner was and is still banned in Thailand, cannot be shown in Thailand or on airlines flying into Thailand because they felt it was not a flattering depiction. I haven't seen that movie in a while, so I don't have a comment on that, but I know that they take this kind of thing extremely seriously here. Supposedly, there's a more current version of The King and I, starring Jodie Foster. I'm not really aware of that one, but we've been told that that movie has been approved by the King and is legal to show in Thailand. So I'm going to have to check that one out. I have seen the original movie, The Yule Runner, and I also saw, I guess it was probably a Broadway revival of The King and I a number of years ago. It was very good. I highly recommend it. So I want to say a special good morning to all my subscribers and special friends on the O-Gauge Forum. The O-Gauge Forum is a group of like-minded hobbyists that come together to discuss, learn, and share the wonderful hobby of model railroading with a special emphasis on O-Gauge size trains. The group includes absolute beginners to what I would consider to be expert modelers. And everyone coexists in a very friendly and respectful way. It is absolutely the best model railroad site on the internet. And I'm willing to state it is the most welcoming and friendly of any forum on the internet today. So I highly recommend anybody with an interest in model trains, really of any size, to come and visit all of my friends at ogaugeforum.com. This really is a great beach for walking. Nice firm ground. In any case, yesterday was New Year's Day, which was Chinese New Year's Day, also known as the Lunar New Year. And the night before was New Year's Eve. And there was some celebration of that. There was a significant amount of tourists from China that visit Thailand. But some of the festivities were shortened or even suspended because of the fear of the outbreak of the coronavirus. It started in China and is slowly spreading to 4 continents by now, 14 countries, I think. But there's been a confirmed case in Thailand. And that gentleman's in the hospital being treated. And so I know that on mainland China, but also here in the resort areas that serve Chinese tourists, there has been a reduction or outright suspension of any sort of scenario that would gather large groups, especially of Chinese citizens, together, just in case somebody is unknowingly carrying the coronavirus. I understand there's been one case reported in Washington State, in the United States, and that in some airports, passengers are, before getting through immigration and getting their bag, they're being stopped and having their temperatures taken. Anybody that has a fever I guess, will then be quarantined so they can be positive. They're not carrying coronavirus. So it sounds like the United States CDC and similar organizations around the country are doing everything necessary to contain this virus as much as possible. But it did have some effect on the celebration of Chinese New Year. Chinese recognize each year based on one of the 12 signs of the Chinese zodiac. Would Foss correctly noted, I'm looking out over the Andaman Sea. It is the western side of Phuket Island, Patong Beach, Patong. Also south of here, a slightly less populated beach, Caron Beach, also on the same body of water. And on the other side of the island, about an hour's drive, is the Gulf of Thailand. And 2 days ago, we took a tour, a boat ride in the Gulf of Thailand out to what is commonly referred to here as James Bond Island. And it is a series of islands that appear in the movie Man with a Golden Gun in the James Bond movie series. And it looks exactly like it did. And it was really fun to see that. On our way out, we stopped at another island. I forget the name exactly, but everyone got into kayaks with a driver or a guide. So there was 2 people plus a guide in each kayak. And the kayak guide, which I didn't understand why we'd need that for a kayak, began rowing right at the cliff. And as we got closer, you could see the very base of the cliff was a very low opening for a cave. And we were instructed to lay down as flat as we possibly could as the guide rowed us through these caves. And it was low. And apparently, if the tide were any higher, we couldn't go. And if the tide were much lower, there wouldn't be enough water to go. So it was very limited to maybe like 2-hour window every day where you could do this. Or maybe 2 hours twice a day, probably. So they rowed us under. It was so low that Mrs. Crabcake was wearing a hat with a bill that got knocked off by the ceiling of the cave. I caught it, but as it was going through, and go through total darkness, other than a head spotlight, probably 50 yards maybe of cave, which is a lot when you're in it. And then it opens up to a lagoon, an oasis on the inside of the island. So I guess from above, from a satellite image, you'd probably see that the island is sort of shaped like a donut. And the only way in is through this narrow, shallow caves, because on the outside it's surrounded by sheer cliffs that are easily hundreds and hundreds of feet high and impossible to scale. And so it was exciting and a lot of fun. Here we are at the southern end of Patong Beach. The tour boats are lined up, ready to take passengers out. And we look back south, see the beautiful mountains that protect this cove. Sorry, on the northern end is what we're seeing. So let's head back north. where we're staying. There is street food here in Patong Beach, just like everywhere in Thailand. Um, there are also some very good restaurants, which I did not expect. First, it's a casual resort town. We ate at one restaurant called Joe's downstairs. It was right on the ocean, and quite honestly, we were going there for the view. But the menu turned out to be really world class. The chef there has done a fantastic job creating a menu with a great variety of tastes, and it had obviously been trained professionally. Now look out over the tip of the northern end of the cove. You can really start to see the land lighting up as the sun slowly begins to shine over that horizon. If you're wondering why the sun's coming up so late here, and it seems to go down so early, is because it's winter. And the temperature really confuses that fact that I've got a little sunburn today, which is something you're not ordinarily going to get back home in winter. The days are in the 90s, and the sun can be very intense. And everything is green, and it makes you think that you're in the middle of summer when in fact this is winter Thailand. Later today, we're heading back to Bangkok, where we'll spend another day. If everything goes well, in about 11 or 12 hours from now, we'll be live streaming again, and this time from Bangkok, at the famous Bangkok train station. We've located where we're going to go with that. Made arrangements to see it and fit it into a nice gap in our schedule, in the tour schedule. So that's something that I know I've wanted to do since we arrived in Thailand. Just things kept happening that kept us from doing it. But it looks like it's a go. So that will be probably 6, anywhere from 5 to 7, that area, which means really early morning back in the States. 12-hour time difference there is. But really looking forward to it. It's historic. It's scheduled to close in 2021 as they make way for a new main Bangkok train station. But we're hoping to see some more interesting trains and a variety of them than we were able to see at the Chiang Mai train station. The Chiang Mai train station in northern Thailand is really, for some things, especially things other than freight, seems to be the sort of end of the line. We didn't see much in terms of railways. Any of the other places we were going to, we were seeing temple ruins, ancient cities. Bangkok is a major destination and major starting point so many things, including one variation of the Eastern Oriental Express, which is very high. I guess it's a leftover of the Orient Express that has come in and out of business over decades. But in any case, just very posh and high class passenger train. So I don't know if we'll come across that. That would be great if we did. I'm sure whatever we see there will be of interest, and it's something that we probably don't get to see every day. So we want to see it, and we're going to live stream it because we want to have all of our friends have the opportunity to share that experience as well. So if you're up early, please join us for that ride. If not, you'll be able to get up and have your morning coffee, check it out, and see what we hope will be a very entertaining, interesting video of the Bangkok train temple. Look back out over the eastern end of the northern side of this Baltic Sea, more sunlight shining down on the hill. Straight ahead, it's coming up. It's already starting to get a little humid, and as the day goes on, it becomes very humid. I would equate the humidity here to Maryland or Virginia in mid-August, at the height of heat and humidity in that area. I would equate it to anything that you might imagine jungle temperature would be like. When I get back to the hotel, they have a nice breakfast buffet. And I would say that everywhere we've stayed has been very good in that area. One of the things that is on every buffet, every breakfast buffet, here is a variation of fried rice. It's a sort of a slightly fried jasmine rice. And I guess it makes sense that it goes very well with eggs, because there's eggs in fried rice. It just never occurred to me that rice and eggs in large quantities, or at least in equal quantities, could be such a great match. But it really is. If you've never tried fried rice and scrambled eggs mixed together, I recommend it. Especially with a little Thai seasoning mixed in. I knew that Thailand was famous for street food and that there would be many good things to sample. In fact, we have done that. If you have watched our Walking Chiang Mai Night Market video, there's a segment where Mrs. Crabcake gets me to try a scorpion on a stick. It's sort of funny section because it was not great. But there are a lot of adventurous eating opportunities here. And we knew that coming in. We were determined to try them. What we didn't realize is how fantastic the food would be. Really across the board. Not just street food, but in the restaurants, even hotels, which aren't always all that great. Thai cuisine is decent back in the States, but it's very, very different here than it is at home. And it is outstanding. Whatever the ingredients that they're using, combinations, it really, really works. One of the nights we had a dinner in a private home. They basically made family recipes for our group. And that was absolutely the best meal we had here. And they gave us a packet of curry paste starter and the recipe, family curry recipe. A lot of curry here, mixing with things. And so we're looking forward to trying that when we get home. Although some of the ingredients that go with it, some of the produce, I'm relatively certain are impossible to get back in the States, or if they are, it's probably unlikely to get them fresh. But we're going to find out, because the cuisine here was that good. If there's any way to duplicate it, then we're going to want to do that. And if we are able to do it, we will make a video and share that information with everybody. Because this is something worth spreading the word about. You know, I mentioned Joe's downstairs, the restaurant. We ate at another one, the Bon Dram, something like that, which I don't know what it means. But it was very good as well. But Joe's downstairs did something spectacular by my personal standards. And that was the most unexpected food find of this entire trip. Maybe the most unexpected food find of my life, now that I think about how long I've been comparing and contrasting crab cakes outside of Maryland. I've had a long-standing policy of not even ordering crab cakes outside of Maryland. I grew up eating them. I think it's fair to say I'm a connoisseur in that area. And wherever we go, there's occasionally crab cakes on the menu. And I'll ask the waiter or waitress, occasionally directly to the chef, how they're made, what's in them. And most of the time, I dismiss it without ordering because I know they're not going to be good from how they tell me they're made. But sometimes they hit all the right buttons. They tell us it's jumbo lump, blue crab, prepared a certain way. And inevitably, we're disappointed. And I don't know whether I think it may just be that outside of Maryland, the chefs that aren't working with Maryland blue crab are very often aren't familiar with what it looks like. They're just relying on their supplier to give them the right thing, and the suppliers either are lying or don't know themselves. And so very often you're not getting jumbo lump crab cake. You're getting snow crab or stone crab. Often there's amounts of whitefish mixed in. I can tell by the taste, I can tell by the look, I can tell by the texture. So we've had experiences. We went to North Carolina a few years ago. Last time I really thought, one of the last times I thought we were really gonna hit it right. And there was a crab cake on the menu. The waitress explained how it was made. They even called it a Maryland crab cake. The way that it explained how it was made is right on the money. She told me her husband was the chef and that he'd lived in Maryland for quite a few years. And this was going to be a real Maryland crab cake. We ordered it, it was horrible. Again, reaffirming our position. We never ordered crab cakes outside of Maryland. I was in Ithaca, New York, at a very nice steakhouse. They're outstanding, really. I've been there a number of times. And one time I got there was a special on the menu. It was an appetizer, but it was Maryland crab cakes. Maryland jumbo lump crab cakes. So again, the question, how they were made, what was in them, sounded like a good thing. Nope, it was terrible. So here we are in Thailand. We picked Joe's Downstairs. Beautiful restaurant right on the water. They could have served us hot dogs. We would have loved it because the scenery was so great and relaxing. But there was a crab cake on the menu as part of their salad. A crab cake on lettuce. And we just ordered it, knowing full well there's no chance that they're going to have the right things, recipe on the other side of the world from Maryland. And we were wrong. It was fantastic. It was one of the best crab cakes I've ever had, and not just because I'm on vacation. It was right with the proper proportions of everything. Whoever the chef is at Joe's Downstairs really knows what they're doing. And they import the right ingredients. The lobster they had there, we didn't have it, but it's actual Maine lobster, which I think most people would agree is the best. It's not sort of cold water or warm water lobster, which is really just giant shrimp. So if you're ever in Patong Beach, Thailand, on the island of Phuket, Thailand, you got to give Joe's Downstairs a try. Hats off to them. I've traveled all over the place. I've never had a good crab cake outside of Maryland until I came literally halfway across the earth and found it. Just a great rendition. There are some American restaurants that have shown up in Thailand. There's a smattering of McDonald's and Burger King and KFC. Not everywhere, I guess, in the States, but they're around. But what is everywhere is 7-Eleven. 7-Eleven is huge in Thailand. Every other corner, it seems, has a 7-Eleven. Some streets have 2 7-Elevens. There's a competing company called Family Mart. It's pretty big, but still probably only about a fourth of the size. And it just really seems to be the ugly stepsister to the 7-Elevens here. Thai people love 7-Eleven. If you find one, you come across one, there's always people there. It's always busy and well run. And in uniform, but you can. So whoever's running that franchise in this country is doing a great job. 7-Eleven is killing it in Thailand. Reminds me of the way, if anybody that's ever visited New York City, especially Manhattan, there's the Duane Reade drugstore, convenience store, that in some cases are literally on every corner. I know of at least one intersection in Manhattan where there are two Duane Reades at the same intersection there, catty corner, literally on the corner, and both thriving. So, as ubiquitous as Duane Reades are in Manhattan, that's 7-Eleven for the entire country of Thailand. Even when we were in Sukhothai, which was literally in the middle of nowhere, and our tour guide described us as being in the middle of nowhere. There was one place you could go if you needed something. It was going to be about a 30-minute walk, and then there would be nothing else for 2 hours walk. And one thing that was a 30-minute walk away was a 7-Eleven. Sun's getting higher now. See it rising. Distance. Just peeking out over top of the buildings and the mountain behind it. We are on the west coast of Phuket Island. So that's why we're seeing the sun. On the other side of the beach, rising in the east. It's a lazy sun. It comes up slowly. But at the end of the day, it goes down fast. Welcome to our new viewer. Good to have you with us. A morning walk of Patong Beach on the island of Phuket, Thailand. I know that it is early evening back in the United States. There's a 12-hour difference. And we are ahead by 12 hours here in Thailand. So it is tomorrow for anyone watching in the States. But I don't want to ruin it, so I won't tell you what happens. You'll find out in 12 hours. For anyone watching that is a fan of O-Gauge model railroad, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. A lot of the walking tours that we've been doing since we got to Thailand were really conceived as a test ground for this technology. We haven't done live streaming before. Walking, the ability to make comments on the screen so that there can be a direct interaction with a person live streaming and somebody watching at home. And so myself and two other members of the O-Gauge Forum, Brian, known as PTC on the forum, Wood, known as Wood on the forum. That's at ogaugeforum.com. Three of us were discussing a special live streaming event that we intend to do in April. It's never been done before, and it is going to take place at one of the two most significant annual events in the hobby. I won't say exactly. I think that's enough information for anyone to figure out what we're planning to do. I think that the success of the streaming we've been able to do here, and the fact that Wood was able to submit multiple comments today and I was able to respond back, that we were able to have that dialogue, is really giving us the green light to doing this special event this coming April. We have a couple of technical issues to work out, and but I think they're not going to be any problems. So check back with us either here on this YouTube channel or at ogaugeforum.com and look in and see for notices of upcoming events, especially as we get closer to April. We have activities and things of interest there every day. There's going to be some special things happening in March, and that will be happening over a period of weeks, culminating in a big live event this April at a very significant activity in this hobby that only happens twice a year. You can see the sun starting to stream down on the beach in sections. That would be where the mountains that are to the east of us are lower as the sun rises. Thank you, Wood. Appreciate it. Wood's going to sign off now, and certainly have been glad to have Wood along with us for our morning walk. And we'll be catching up with him soon back on the O-Gauge Forum at ogaugeforum.com, the internet's #1 model railroad forum. We're coming to the end of the beach soon. I'll be heading immediately back to the hotel for a quick bite, and then it's off for an hour-long van ride through the hills of Phuket to the airport for a flight to Bangkok. We'll be in Bangkok late this afternoon, and after checking in at our hotel, we'll be heading out in search of the Bangkok train station. That should be somewhere between 5 and 7 p.m. Thailand time, which is very early in the morning in the United States. Here there's a speedboat anchored just off the beach, and it's here to run either towards where they tow this long inflatable. Looks like it can hold 5 people for a ride around water off the beach. And also it offers the opportunity for parasailing, where it pulls a giant parachute with a person, 1 or 2 people hanging under it. If you've ever done parasailing, which I have, it's fun, it's exciting, it's exhilarating, it's interesting. It's also very dangerous. And not because it's inherently dangerous, but because the operators of a lot of these parasailing operations, I guess, they just don't do a good job of taking care of their gear and ensuring that it's regularly replaced. Instead, things get replaced when they break, which usually means something went wrong. And that's an issue. So if you're ever going to do parasailing somewhere, I would recommend it because it is fun. It's exciting. It's interesting. Great way to see. It's a great vantage point to see where you're visiting. But definitely check out the equipment you're getting ready to get strapped into. And then look at the operator's boat, the ropes, and ask yourself, do these look well maintained? Do they look new? Do they look old and frayed? And if you're not confident, don't do it. Go down the beach. There's always another parasail operation just 100 yards away. If injuries happen, it can really ruin your vacation. Or at least put a big damper on it. One of the members of our group, of our tour group, 2 nights ago, rented a moped, which is something people do on vacation. Hello, Joseph K. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate the comment. I was mentioning how one of our tour group rented a moped, but the streets here are small, narrow, and motor vehicle laws are not followed. He ended up getting in an accident. Knock a tooth loose. He's going to have ligament surgery when he gets home. And his road rash at the side of his face. Hello, Train Room Gary. Good to have you with us. No, I have not seen any crabs on the beach, which is interesting. Last night we were eating at a restaurant looking down on this beach, and Mrs. Craig actually said, I bet you there's a lot of crabs down there. We like to vacation in North Carolina, and at nighttime the ghost crabs come out. I see people digging, but I think more it's for dropped coins and metal detectors. Occasionally there's a little holes in the sand that I've always thought were sort of breathing tubes for crabs that are buried underneath, but I don't know. I haven't seen a single ghost crab or crab of any kind on this beach other than the big crab cake. And it could be that they're just not here, or it could be that because this beach is very compact. The sand here is not soft at all, except for maybe the final fifth of the beach. And it's just because there's such a slow, low rise from the ocean. It makes for a very pleasant swimming environment, very pleasant, very safe. The waves come in and out to make sure the water gets exchanged and it's clean, but it's not pounding, and it doesn't get deep, and there's no riptides. But the same low rise moves all the way up, almost 4/5 of the way up the beach, and packs the sand in. Makes for a nice walk or running track, which is what I'm on now. But probably a bad home for snow crabs. So we're coming to the end of the beach, and I'll be leaving you soon, but picking it up again 10 or 11 hours or so in Bangkok. We look for the train station. And again in April, when there's going to be a special, never done before, live streaming event of particular interest, O-gauge model railroaders everywhere. And we're going to stream live from an event of significance. No formal announcement has been made yet. But we seem to have been working out all of the technical difficulties of it, and it looks like it's all full speed ahead at this point for a live stream of a very special event for anyone in model railroading, but especially for my good friends on the O-gauge forum, internet's #1 model railroad forum. Found ogaugeforum.com. Check us out. Everyone is welcome, from expert to novice. Everyone is treated with respect and friendship and unified by a common love and interest in. It's a great hobby. The sun is getting high now. It's still not directly on the beach. It's smattering through. And it was a nice morning for a walk. And a nice way to end our time here at Patong Beach on the island of Phuket, Thailand. Take one look out, the Andaman Sea, which is on the west coast of Phuket Island. And here's where we'll leave you, and we'll see you again soon. Thanks for walking with us this morning.